And so we have to make them set their verbs aside, because the minute they come up with a verb like it is walking,
right.
Oh, therefore it must be a person. And so they lock themselves into an idea. And so, the linguistic base that we have as Indo-European people will trap us in this actual work.
Is there a way in your training in controlled remote reviewing, as it is today, to give an instruction or what you call a subliminal to the subconscious to strengthen itself to become this tuned faculty that gets stronger and stronger every time these protocols are used and becomes more and more effective at gathering data?
My son asked me that one time. He said, hey, Dad, why don't you get into my mind and give me like a subliminal thing and make me a good remote viewer? And I said, okay. And he said, what? And I said, sure, I'll do that. And he said, Dad, what are you going to put into my mind? And I said, practice, practice, practice. And practice is the only way.
By the way, I didn't mean to not practice. What I was saying is there's a lot of teaching out there about the subconscious that says it pretty much will follow whatever you tell it to do, so be careful what you tell your subconscious to do. Mine was more a pure question of not manipulating the subconscious, but having the subconscious agree to be utilized and agree to participate in this process and to tell it that it will become better as it goes along. That's what I meant.
Yeah, we have found that there doesn't seem to be any way except practice, practice, practice. And in fact, as a person learns remote viewing, they will do extremely well. And then, all of a sudden, they'll start doing very poorly. What happens is, as the conscious and subconscious start talking to each other, old grudges get dredged up. And the two have to work through these things until, they get them resolved. And then all of a sudden your remote viewing, they start cooperating with each other again. And somewhere along the line, some other old grudge will come up, and all of a sudden your results drop to, pig slop, and that gets resolved, and all of a sudden your accuracy rate and your results come back up to a higher level. And it actually works as a plateau-type learning, where a person will have a certain ability and a certain accuracy rate and can't get above it. And all of a sudden something gets resolved and they go up to the next plateau. And so this is not a process where you just teach somebody to put the envelope to the forehead and say the answer is. This is a science. And it's a learning process just like any other learning process, just like playing the piano or tennis or whatever. It's plateau learning, and it takes practice, 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 practice.
After your classes, someone comes for a workshop at a beginner's level. When they leave you, they're still in communication with you, and they're still practicing when they go home, wherever they go. Correct?
Yeah, absolutely. Our classes are all 3 days long. There is no way you can learn remote viewing in 3 days. And I know a lot of other trainers then charge you like one charges $200 for 20 hours or 20 days, whichever comes first, 20 hours of consultation time. Or if you don't use it up in 20 days, then you pay again for the next 20 hours. I don't do that. I figure that people come to me to learn remote viewing. And so once they have paid for the class, then they have paid for learning. And so they have my phone number, they have my email address. We have a online email list where people can write questions and write of any problems they have, and other trained remote viewers from beginners all the way to the ex-military will come back and answer these questions for them. We also have it so that once you've taken a class, you can come back to that class again as many times as you want to for the rest of your life for free.
That's extraordinary. That's really the highest dedication a teacher can have with a student.
Well,
once the student's committed,
I want
right?
them to learn remote viewing, and whatever it takes to get them to learn remote viewing, that's what I'm after.
Lyn, let's talk about the concept of time. This is at the core in our paradigms about the past, the present, and the future. Obviously, it's malleable. Talk about its malleability and how it's not what we think it is.
One of the things that we learned in controlled remote viewing is that time is not what you've always been told. You've always been told that it's linear and goes in one direction. Well, it is linear because every cause has an effect and every effect has a cause, and there's usually a straight line between them. But the fact is that you can go backwards in time. We have even, and don't ask me to explain this because we don't have time in this program to explain it. We have even found that you can go up and down and sideways and at angles in time. And so time is extremely malleable. Now, we developed a methodology called associative remote viewing, which is different from controlled remote viewing. And associative remote viewing, what we do is we have found that the future is very changeable. And so we take a situation and make it to where the future will not change, period. So let's say that tonight is the night for the drawing of the lottery balls.
Okay.
Okay. Let's take the pick 3 because that's the easiest. The pick 3 ball is going to have one number on it. Numbers are extremely hard to remote view. However, things like sounds, smells, taste, and all that are very easy to remote view. So we look in the database and find out what you're best at. Let's say you're best at taste, and that's your highest accuracy of anything. Okay, so I say at 7:30 tonight, there's going to be the first ball in the lottery will be drawn. And if there's a 0 on it, then I will give you some chocolate at 9 o'clock tonight. If there's a 1, I'll give you some vanilla. If there's 2, I'll give you some mint. If there's 3, I'll give you some Coca-Cola or something like that. And we set up these senses that are easy to view. Okay? Now, at 9 o'clock tonight, you will be there, and I will give you a taste, which will be determined by the number on the first ball. So this morning, all I have to do is take you to 9 o'clock tonight and say, tell me what you're tasting. I taste mint. Oh, thank you very much. I know at 10 o'clock this morning that the number on the first ball is going to be a 2.
Wow.
And so, you can move forward in time, bring back information, and that information can be of such a nature that you can profit by it. Once a year, we have a class in ARV, and at the end of the class, the last afternoon, we go up to the Indian casinos up on the reservation. And, it's common knowledge that when you go to an Indian casino, you're just supporting the Indians. You're not going to win. You're not coming back. And so far, we have had one student break even, and everyone else has won money, and nobody has lost. And what we simply do is we say, okay, we go to the roulette wheel. If there's if the ball is going to land in a black spot, I'll take a sip of my coffee. If it's going to land in a red spot, I'll take a sip of my Coke. I've got a candy bar in my pocket. If it's going to land in a green spot, I'll take a bite of the candy bar. And so you sit there at the edge of the roulette wheel, and you say to yourself, because you have learned to move through time through training, and